Buonasera, benvenuti. Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends, my name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. And yes, welcome to September 15, 2024 weekly recap. You know, you got some weeks where you've got absolutely nothing and you're struggling to provide some content for you, some interesting content at least. And then there's other weeks where you're swarmed with all kinds of novelties, news, trends, pens, paper, ink. I've got it all for you this week, folks. So stay tuned for my weekly recap, September 15, 2024. Okay, so the first part of this weekly recap, let's take a look at some product news, what's out there, and in terms of trends, we got a few things to discuss, including this Goulet Pens news that's kind of hit us by storm. It was during a week of rumors, and now things have been kind of confirmed, so we'll get to that in a second. First of all, let's look at the Chinese pen front. What have I got for you? Well, here we go. Cut to my computer. Not much, folks, not much, but I see a couple of offerings that I'm just kind of tempted. Maybe you guys can kind of discourage me. I see this Benovel. It's kind of a new pen name, brand. I don't know who makes them. I haven't researched it, but I'm looking at this pen and it really looks enticing. It's kind of a stylish Mont Blanc look. I like that barrel, and they're talking about aluminum alloy. It's got, you know, several options for the nibs, including a bent nib. I'm kind of tempted to take the dive here, but it's at $54 Canadian, so somewhere around $35 US. Maybe something to be look at. What else have I got for you? Well, Lambitu is got these pens. Kind of an Andean slim pen, forest pen look. In fact, they call it the Lambitu Forest Metal Fountain Pen. It comes in various offerings, including that kind of colorful nib. It looks like a number 5 nib, but I'm not sure. It doesn't kind of, well, it doesn't give you more details. But that's another one that I'm tempted to look at. In terms of the Chinese pen, you've got my Shanghai Knife Dude, which is a YouTuber. Once in a while, kind of lets us know what's to come. And he's saying that there's this new Winsung 900 that's huge offering. When we look at it, it's 44 grams. It looks like a huge Mont Blanc-ish sort of a pen. In fact, much bigger. I think he puts the Mont Blanc 149 next to it and kind of to show you the difference. But there you have it. And he says it's an 18 karat titanium piston pen. I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not, I haven't seen it and I don't know where to find it, frankly. He's then talking about the Jinao Wudao, with the Buddha, and he's saying that it's an insult to be doing this. So he suspects that this might be for the Western market. But having said that, I've tried to look up Jinao Wudao, and maybe I'm looking up the wrong sources. I couldn't find anything. But those are two interesting new offerings that may be coming to us soon. Now, let's get away from the Chinese pens. What have we got? Well, we've got Magna Carta is up to its nib findings, if you will. It's got a few-day nib, and Pen Chalet's got these three or two pens to offer in some interesting colors. And if you take a look at their video, at the end of the video, it kind of shows the how the pen writes. But it's got in its video. Let me just see if I can click that without going through.
Magna Carta and converter that this and your pen will need a little bit of all was created using the Magna Carta.
Yeah, you see they're kind of.
And this is a look at the same urban feud fountain pen nib with some writing.
There you go. So it looks like it's good for drawing and, yeah, you know, kind of thick writing. It's a few-day nib, folks, so you can use it in different folks. But this is the first time that I've seen a few-day nib in a pen other than a Chinese offering. Now, Goulet pens. Wanted to discuss that. Goulet pens, the middle of the week, we heard, I read something on Reddit saying that an announcement will be made soon. Our friend Drew Brown appears to no longer be in the picture. And finally, we've got not Drew, but Mr. Goulet, Mr. and Mrs. Goulet, come on. This is their 149th episode, and they start off by explaining what's the situation. They confirm the rumor that indeed Drew Brown is no longer with Goulet Pens. It sounds, and I'm going to make a long story short, I invite you to listen to it yourself. Not going to speculate. It sounds like it's not dramatic. That's what they've said. They're inviting people to make comments, to wish Drew, best for his future endeavors, and for Drew to take a look at the messages. So it sounds like maybe somewhere. Doesn't sound like a firing. Right? Let's put cards where they are. At least if he's saying it's not dramatic, I hope it's not dramatic, because if he's been fired, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Goulet, but it's dramatic. So it sounds like, maybe people gone fed up. Maybe people want to go separate ways. They're maybe looking at different ventures, all constantly doing the same thing. And maybe not being owner of an operation like that can get tedious and can get repetitive. And you're looking to do something else in life. And that's perfectly understandable. I think we'll all miss Drew Brown. I think the last mention I made of Drew Brown is I disagreed with his assessment of the Delta Magnifica Amalfi, which I thought he was completely wrong on it, and he was saying it was a stupid, ridiculous pen. But having said all of that, I regret. I hope I didn't cause something there. I doubt it very much. I think they've mentioned that they've been discussing things for a while, so this was kind of in the works. And look, things happen. So looks like Drew Brown is no longer with Goulet Pens. What else have I got for you? Atlas Stationer is one of my favorite. In fact, I'm going to mention Atlas sent me a pen to review. I'll show it to you in a minute. I love this new Edison Collier. It's an Atlas exclusive primary manipulation resin number 4, which is my, this year's favorite resin. I really like all these colors. Some people don't like it. It's a bit too outlandish, but Collier, I've got 2 Colliers. They're excellent design, excellent pen. Their nibs are also very, very nice. So take a look at this. It might be worthwhile. Now, this 314, I got to caution you, is Canadian. So we're looking at maybe, 200 and some odd dollars American. So I think it could be a very, very, very nice purchase. Gravitas pens. Well, we got some news finally. As you know, they've kind of come out that Gravitas has finally gotten Pen Venture to take care of all its logistics, the ordering, the website, the shipping, etc., because I think Gravitas, the original anyway, he was having a real hard problem. Mr. Walsh, I think, having lots of problems, lots of complaints, and they promised a new website. Here it is. The website's on, so I take advantage of it. Take a look at some of their products. If they've gotten their shipping and their logistics, on track, it may very well be that Gravitas will be back in the news. I'm taking a look at this pen here, right here, this kind of carbon material. I think it's going to be offered both in the mini pen, pocket pen, and regular size. So Gravitas is back on track, folks. I don't know what this members area is. I've got to investigate it. It might be something interesting for all of us. Also, this corporate area, I'm not sure what that is, but I'll be taking a look at it soon. Goldspot. What does Goldspot have? Well, I think the best thing that's out there on the new arrivals, in my opinion, on Goldspot is this new 1670 Turquoise de Perse. This, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't seen this before. This must be something new. I like the turquoise. I love turquoise, and you know what? I'm going to order it. Just make sure that there is nothing cheaper anywhere, including a Canadian site that can deliver that to me, because this $44 bottle is going to cost me a fortune. But having said that, if I can, I'm going to pull the trigger on that, and you'll be one of the first to see it on my pen, on my ink halls, maybe as early as next week. We'll see how fast it gets in. What have I got? Apple Boom, another friend of the channel. They've got the new Joya Sephora. So this is the new Joya offering. I haven't seen Joya coming up with anything recently. I like the shape. This reminds me a little bit of the Visconti Homo sapiens. We'll see what it's like. $264 euros, so that's roughly $260, $250 US, or maybe a little more than that, depending on the exchange. But I thought that was interesting. It's the first Joya, a new Joya offering that I've seen in a while. I think the last one was probably the Métis. Then Montegrappa, I talked about this last week. I'm looking at Italian pens. I think the price of 337 US is the price, the going price. I haven't seen it cheaper anywhere else, except on this site. I've seen other colors. These three have kind of been the ones that have been advertised on other channels, or other, I shouldn't say channels, other retail sites, but they appear to have several other colors that I didn't see offered on some of the other sites, including Pen Chalet and the others, or maybe they've been added and I just missed it. But if you're interested in other colors and some a little more somber, less colorful, more conservative colors, well, there you have it. Italian Pens has got it. So that's it for pen news that I thought was interesting. We'll miss Drew Brown, but Goulet Pens will continue to exist. They're a great company. They're looking at their podcast format right now. I know Mrs. Goulet is there for now. Will they redo things? Will they think of something else? Will they just continue? It was a very popular, very interesting. They always had something new to announce, but also all kinds of tidbits and all kinds of, nice podcast. Not just selling their pens, forming people. So lots of blogs there. Very interesting. So I wish Drew all the best, and I wish Goulet Pens all the best in thinking of their new format. So there you have it. What's next? Fountain Pen Spotlight. Stay tuned. I've got some product news for you, some new ink that's in, some new paper, and some new pens. And we'll start with my Fountain Pen Spotlight pen haul. Be right back. Okay, my pen haul for this week. A lot of pens came in, folks. But there is one that I know I'm going to enjoy. It's one of my, I think it's going to become another Grail pen. Let me just lower some of my ear. Okay, I don't want to go over. So, what have we got? Let's start with the, we'll go to my overhead camera. Here we go. Let's start with Chinese pens. What have I got for you this week? Okay, we've got this. This is my first Tramal pen. This box kind of looks suspiciously Moonmanish or Majonish, but I don't see Moonman or Majon anywhere. Chinese writing, I am assuming it says born for pen lovers. The rest of the indications are all in what I'm assuming is Chinese. And here it is, folks. I really like this pen. First of all, they give you one of these contraptions, I guess, to fill it up. But it's advertised as being a vacuum filler. So unlike, the Opus 88. In fact, let me just get the Opus 88 for you. Apologize, it took longer than I expected. Just to kind of compare it, this is the, that huge pen, Opus 88. We can compare it as well to the Asvine, which is kind of different, but here's the Asvine, and I'm going to do a detailed review of this pen, so stay tuned for that, folks. So it's kind of in between the two. It's smaller. I shouldn't say in between. It's kind of smaller than all three. It may be more like another pen, the Warship pen that I reviewed, but Tramal, it's kind of a misty resin. It's a lot clearer than it looks on camera, by the way, but I like that kind of mattish look. It's got a number 6 size Bach steel nib, so I'm thinking right away I'm going to replace that with the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex nib, as I have done with this V200. I really enjoy those nibs, and we'll get to that in a second in terms of what I've got planned for you folks. So all in all, I think this is going to be an interesting pen. I mean, when I unscrew this and I pull out, the mechanism looks like mechanism we've seen before. I'm assuming that this is a vacuum fill and not like the Opus where you need to just, bring it back and kind of fill it in. But they do give you this to fill in. So stay tuned for that. I will, of course, fill this pen eventually for our reviews, and we'll let you know. I found it a little expensive, but we'll get into all the details. But you know what? It looks like another interesting demo pen added to my collection. So there you have. That's the Tramal. That's the new pen I have for you this week on the Chinese pen front. What else have I got for you? Oh, Atlas. I received this from Atlas. Thank you very much to Atlas Stationaries. Stationers, they've asked me to review this Delta, and I will be doing a detailed review of it. Beautiful pen. And as you know, Delta is amongst my favorite. Here you have it. I won't even pull it out of its plastic. It's going to be kind of a short unboxing when I do my review. But a little bit different. It's a Dune, I think, or a Duna. And I will be reviewing that sometime, either this week or the following week. We'll be working on that video sometime during this weekend. What else have I got for you? Well, Stipula, as I mentioned, I'd ordered this pen to add to my kind of flex collection, if you will. And well, let me just pull that out. Here we go. So it comes in this box. It's got an eyedropper. It's got a manual. It's got some. You got a cartridge there, and the pen is here because I've been playing around with it. So here it is. It's the Etruria Lucens, a very nice, kind of greenish, with some translucency in it. Stipula with that steel stipula flex nib. Stay tuned for that. I look forward to reviewing it in detail, and it also formed part of a comparison that I'm preparing for you folks, and which I'm going to be discussing in just a few minutes in one of my chapters of this recap. So that was the stipula. So that's the third pen. Fourth pen. This is it. This is another Grail pen, folks. I got to tell you, Peniter, I finally took the jump. I'm so glad I did not buy any Peniter pens at the Peniter store in Florence during my summer vacation. I found them all to be overly expensive. Got this on really, really good price, $250 US, I believe it was. I love this box, by the way. How does it open again? Forgive me. Here we go. See the box? Beautiful. It's got some, they got, this famous Peniter paper that I'm looking forward to looking at. The pen sits there. And where's the pen? Well, here's the pen. The pen is here. It's the beautiful, beautiful, I just want to make sure I get the name right. The full name is the Peniter La Grande Bellezza Gemstone Tigers Yellow. So there you have it. Here's the pen, folks. Now, this pen is going to give me a lot of pleasure. First of all, I love that resin. Kind of a little bit heavier than the Visconti Van Goghs. It kind of gives it, kind of has the same look as the Visconti Van Goghs or the Rembrandt. It is a kind of a, it's got a kind of a twist magnet pull out, but there it is. Finally got my hands on a Peniter quill nib. Now, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I have to. I just have to show you how it writes. It'd be a pity if I don't. Okay, so let me just get some paper here. Here we go. Why don't we use this? Just to tease you a little bit. Oh, man, is this quill nib soft. I mean, really soft, folks. This is a very soft and bouncy to the point where I'm almost intimidated by it. A little bit like my M100, the Pelican. Now, I realize the reason why I got a good price on this quill nib is because it's a medium. Because at the same retailer, if I wanted the fine, it cost almost double. But you know what? I figured I wanted to have a feel for this quill nib to see if indeed it is a flex nib, and I can definitely tell you, and I'm shaking here, but it is very, very quilly, almost like a little bit like the Mag 600, but not quite. But, it kind of, where the nib is actually flexing as opposed to just the tines opening up. So I am very happy with this Peniter. And I'm going to continue testing it just to see how it writes. Maybe test it for the entire week. But there you have it. It's my first Peniter pen, and it's got a quill nib, and I'm very pleased. So that's just a kind of a highlight to show you what's coming. And, nice clip, nice finials, but we'll get into the detail of this pen in due course. But I thought I'd share that with you, folks. I'm very, very happy that, for this week anyway, I got 4 pens that have come in. Actually, I have a 5th one, but I will keep for next week. And I'm I'm looking at vintage pens these days. I just regret having lost that Waterman 94 on the Peyton Street site. Didn't pull the trigger quick enough. Somebody else snatched it. I keep going to Peyton Street because I think I can trust them. I've got some Watermans. I've got some Pelicans, and we'll discuss Pelicans in a second, but that's what I'm really looking at these days. And there's that Traversium Montegrappa that suspiciously looks like the Mia, a little bit bigger than the Elmo. I've got to get another Montegrappa in my collection, and those are the pens that I'm looking at right now. But I haven't quite decided yet. And then I've got Conway Stewart that's on my mind. I've got Pilot 845 on my mind. So stay tuned, folks. You might be in for another surprise next week. So there's my pen haul. Stay tuned next for my paper haul. Be right back. So I'm back with some notebooks. You remember last week I mentioned to you that I was approached by, I don't want to get it wrong, Danica58, which is a new website that they've set up. This outfit used to sell on Etsy. They've set up their own independent website, and I'm saying she, I believe is a she, but they have sent me three notebooks to review. Here are the three. The first one is this A5 size, 320 pages, and it's a dot grid, 5mm, but you can barely see the dots, which is nice. And it's 84 GSM paper, medium weight. It brags that it's no show through, semi-hard craft color kind of a cover. I mean, look at this. It opens up really nicely. These are just absolutely, I've more than one of these notebooks, even Cosmic Air Light. They're really well bound, really good quality. I recommend them, folks. So that's the first A5 size notebook. The next one is, and again, I don't want to get it wrong. Yeah, it's this blue one. This blue one is referred to as B5 size. They call it B7 natural paper, 75 GSM. There you have it, lays flat beautifully. Not a problem there whatsoever. Again, very nicely bound. It has 192 blank pages. Perfect substitute and alternative for Cosmo Air Light paper. Gorgeous shade and sheen and less hand oil sensitive. Yeah, I don't know if you know, folks, you know, but Cosmic Air Light, if you kind of put your finger oil on it, then go right over the same spot, you can see that you have difficulties. So it claims to be less hand oil sensitive. Kind of an off-white paper journal notebook. Smooth writing with no bleed, no feathering. 75 GSM paper weight. Flexible sky blue color cover, as you can see. Very nice. So that's the second notebook. And the third notebook is this one, which is again, a B5 size, 75 gram GSM paper notebook, blank. It's referred to as off-white color paper, blank layout page, 192 pages, crisp and accurate lines. I don't see the lines though. So this is the blank. So it must come in lined or blank. Excellent amount of sheen and shading, no bleed through, no feathering, light gray color, flexible cover. So that's another, they kind of don't give it any name or any, you don't see what kind of paper it is other than this 75 GSM paper notebook. But there you have it. And these three notebooks, what we're going to do, folks, is that instead of, we're going to show you my ink haul, and I've got 3 inks to propose, and we're going to ink all 3 of them on these 3 notebooks and do some writing, and we'll kind of, at the same time, take a look at the ink haul and the paper haul at the same time and kind of test both. So there you have it. So stay tuned. We'll introduce the 3 inks that I propose for you this week, and we'll do some ink swatching on these notebooks. Stay tuned, folks. Okay, so what's the ink call for this week, folks? Well, here are the 3 inks. I got to tell you, I don't know, these days I'm getting this kind of fascination over kind of purplish, reddish, dark red inks, and when I see them, I kind of jump, and I jumped. And I realized these are kind of, inks that have existed for God knows how long. But I realized they didn't form part of my ink collection, and I've got like 400, 500 bottles. It's the Tanzanite from Monteverde, the Rose Noir from Monteverde, and Garnet from Monteverde. Now, Monteverde are just absolutely great inks, very well lubricated, and really cheap. I've always enjoyed all their colors, and I have almost all, but I realized that I was missing these 3. I don't know what caught my fancy. I think I'd seen one reviewer reviewing maybe Garnet, and then I looked for Garnet, and then I saw Rose Noir, and I saw Tanzanite, and I said, you know what, we'll order all 3. So it's kind of similar colors, but we'll test them and see what gives. I'm expecting them to be very, very nice inks, but we'll see what gives. Now, one thing I forgot to mention about the 3 notebooks that we're going to use to do the swatching is that, unlike Amazon, sometimes I receive notebooks that I hire on Amazon and they just put them in a bag, and when they come, they're all they're all nicked and bent, and which is not something you're buying a brand new notebook. You want it to be, at least when you receive it, brand new and not crumpled all over the place. But the Nika 58 kind of puts it in this big, huge. First of all, it had a wrapper, it kind of a plastic wrapping, a big envelope. And then it finds itself in this thing, which really protects it well, I found. And then Federal Express bag over that. So well protected, well packaged. Congratulations, Danica 58. Very nice. I've ordered notebooks from you before. I hope people will encourage your new venture, and I will continue to order, and they'll form part of, I can assure you, my year-end reviews of new notebooks that I've purchased during the year, and will be part 3 of that ongoing annual series. So let's do this one at a time. We'll first test this A5 paper. Okay, where we're going to put it? We're going to put it like in the front pages, I think. Yeah, there we go. So let me just close up a little bit. First of all, we'll do Tanzanite. Oh, man, is that... Okay, talk about a well-sealed bottle. I had to stop filming and go out and get a little tool to open this bottle. It was really well sealed. Gotta tell you, wow. Okay, so let me just put this ink here. There we go. My trusty folded pen to do the swatching. I prefer that over swabs or paintbrushes. So let's take a look at this. This is my first Tanzanite. Wow. Now that is a nice... Whoa. Man, that is nice. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. I mean, it's vibrant. So we'll use this nib. So this is the Monteverde Tanzanite. On this Danica 58 paper. Isn't that nice? Wow. Really impressive, gotta tell you folks. That is very nice. Okay, so that's that. Let's do the next one. Okay, this one's a little easier. This is Garnet. Yeah. This is what I thought this ink would look like. Very nice. So that's Garnet. I'm going to do some writing here. So this is the Monte Verde Garnet. On this Danica 58. Now this is really thick writing. I'm just going to see how well it performs. If it can take this, which is extremely, quadruple broad, if you will. It's quite a big nib there that I have. Then it could take anything. Okay, the next one is this Rose Noir. So again, whoop, sorry about that. So it's Monteverde, Rose Noir, Black Rose, with a Danica 58 notebook. There you go. What we will do is we will allow that to dry up and see how it fares once it's all dry. Put that aside. Next, this one here, which is described just as 75 GSM paper notebook. We'll try to kind of keep the same order so that we can put them side by side later on. So we'll do Tanzanite first. And I will fast forward so we can get to the bottom of all this much quicker. Okay, so let's dip this and kind of do some writing here. So this is the Monte Verde Garnet. On this Danica 58. Now this is really thick writing. I'm just going to see how well it performs. If it can take this, which is extremely, quadruple broad, if you will. It's quite a big nib there that I have. Then it could take anything. Okay, the next one is this Rose Noir. So again, whoop, sorry about that. So it's Monteverde, Rose Noir, Black Rose, with a Danica 58 notebook. There you go. What we will do is we will allow that to dry up and see how it fares once it's all dry. Put that aside. Next, this one here, which is described just as 75 GSM paper notebook. We'll try to kind of keep the same order so that we can put them side by side later on. So we'll do Tanzanite first, and I will fast forward so we can get to the bottom of all this much quicker. Okay, so there you have it. We've done the second notebook. We'll put aside, let it dry, and come back. We'll now do this third notebook. Again, we will do it fast forward so we don't waste anybody's time. So there you have it. The three notebooks have been swatched. We will give them all the necessary drying time, and we will be right back. Okay, the inks are all dry, and so let's take a look at the result. Here are the three notebooks. First of all, this 84, this is the small brown cover 84 GSM, A5 size, 320 pages. We could see that the inks are not showing that much, pretty kind of straightforward inks. I was expecting them to have a little more sheen, to be very frank, but they appear to be, there's some feathering there from this ink, which I did not expect. And in the back, they kind of go right through here. So, you know, these inks look like they are not easy in terms of penetration right to the other side. But we'll take a look at how this paper fares when you just simply write with a simple pen. This other one, which is the B775, you can see is a lot better. I mean, this is thick. There's a lot of ink there, okay? and it kind of performs really, really well. Much better than this one, I would say to you. Okay, but the explanation is that, and this is a 75 grams GSM, and this is an 84, and this one, the B7, is performing much better. The other 84, kind of, there's a lot of see-through there, but again, I laid it on really, really thick. So what I propose is that when we take a look at the 3-pen resurrection, we can, and the 3 pens, the 3 new pens, I will use these inks in those 3 pens, and we'll take a look at how they perform in just simple writing, if you will. Okay, this is really to show kind of the vibrance of the inks more than the paper, because I'm really laying it down thick. I mean, we don't write this way on an everyday basis. So there you have it. Those are the notebooks, and we'll be right back with the next section. Okay, so we're back with the pen resurrection section of this recap. For those of you who are not familiar with this chapter, what I do every week, I try to resurrect 3 pens from my pen collection that I haven't used in a while, and it gets me to use the pens that I have, and at the same time it gets me to maybe show you some other offerings that you may not be familiar with, or that you're wondering about. And what I do is I use those 3 pens in my rotation for the week, come back, I comment on the previous week's 3 pens, and I offer 3 more. So that's the pen resurrection spotlight. And what have I got for you this week? Well, you will recall that last week we resurrected these 3 pens, in particular the Momento Zero Ordinary or Standard, not the Grande, and this is the Sorrento, beautiful model, after the name of the city or town, Neapolitan town of Sorrento, where I was born, in fact, on the Amalfi, or on the Amalfitana coast, we can say. And I have this Cypress with a gold nib, Cypress Micarta, very nice. And I have this Marlin 1, very difficult to find, but a nice Marlin pen. At the end of the day, this is the pen really that captured my imagination this week. I think this is the pen that I ended up using the most. It caps very nicely. This is a number 5 broad nib from what I can surmise. So this is the Marlin, and I believe they refer to it as 1. The nib on this pen is a number 5 steel. I'm going to be able to figure it out, but it looks like a Bach, but I'm not sure. Number 5 steel, and it's a broad nib. Very, very smooth. Let me just close up. Got to tell you, very nice, enjoyable writing experience. For those who are wondering why I keep repeating fountain pen therapy, 1, I'm trying to boast my channel, but that's not the principal reason. I really like my F's and my T's. But no, what I find is that by writing this fountain pen therapy, it gets me to go through several loops that properly test my pen, if you will. So there you have it. So that's the Marlin 1. Very, very nice. In fact, I might just leave it in my rotation for an additional week. We shall see. There we are. We got 4 new pens, so I may want to test those pens while we're at it. This is the Momento. So this is the Leonardo Momento Zero Sorrento. It has a 1 point, yeah, it's the nib is a number 6 steel 1.1 Yowo stub. Yeah, very, very nice. Very, very nice. Forgotten about this pen. Nice little pen. Not too fancy, not too big, but it does the job. Good weight, posts, everything going for it. Very nice, the Momento Zero design. Okay, here we go. This is the Cypress Micarta with a 14 karat, I believe. Is it 18? No, 14 karat nib. I think one of the companies that makes, gold nibs at very, very affordable prices. Recommended. In fact, I should be buying more of these pens. So this is the Cypress Micarta. And the nib is a Cypress in-house, okay? 14 karat gold, number 6. Is it medium? I forget, but I suspect that this is a fine. But writes nice and thick. It's got kind of the sailor feedback. Very nice. And the inks in there, by the way, are the 2 inks that I reviewed last week from Wet Pens. Okay, so there you have the 3 pens for this week. Very, very nice. Might just leave them in my rotation. I really enjoyed these 3 pens. Now, what have I got for you this week? Well, let's take a look. Okay, for the 3 pen resurrection for this week, I've resurrected 3 pen BBS pens. I've got plenty, and I realize I just don't use those pens enough. This is the Pen BBS 323. We'll take a look at that. This is the Pen BBS 486. And this is the 491, I believe, Cartwright, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 486, 322, 23, and the 491 Cartwright. So let's take a look at how these pens. I want to give a fair share to this paper that I just received, because it's just beautiful. And swatching it, of course, with lots of ink is not a fair test. So this is the Pen BBS 323. It's with the aluminum purple, and the nib, I believe it's the medium. Yeah. Is the Pen BBS medium nib, just a standard nib. The ink is, of course, now I just have to remember which one I put in here. And here I put the Tanzanite. Okay. One of the reasons why I don't use this pen is that it's very, very slippery. A little too slippery for my taste, but it's a gorgeous pen because it just sits in your hand so nicely. I enjoyed I believe there's 323s that are made out of resin, which I prefer over this one. Now, this is the 486. I believe they call it the pink purple. The nib, yeah, it's the pen BBS fine number 6. This one's a number 6 as well, by the way, and the ink in this one is the Garnet, all Monteverde inks. Last pen is another pen BBS, and this is the pen BBS 491 Cartwright. It's kind of a semi-transparent pen. It's got some swirls, purplish swirls, okay, and I've eyedroppered it. The nib is the pen BBS, and this is a special nib. This, they call it the Amber is a Cat fine. The ink is my third Monteverde ink, which is the Rose Noire. So there you have the 3, and let's see how this paper fares. And you could see that there is some feathering or some ghosting in the back, but not as bad as, of course, when you lay it down thickly the way you do when you swatch. Just for the fun of it, let's just explore the other 2. This is the 84 GSM paper, blank. I just wish this pen wasn't so slippery slidey, because it would be used by me so much more often, you know, but it is what it is, right? And the last one. How does it fare? Yeah, can't even see it. So fares very, very, very well. So obviously this paper is a little more resistant than the first one we've seen. And I think the best of the gang is probably this 75 GSM, believe it or not, in my view. But let's take a look at this. You know what, I gotta remove this nib from this pen and put it somewhere else, because the nib is just fabulous. There's a Cartwright that I didn't do. Which one did I didn't do yet? No, I've done this one. Maybe it's this one that we haven't done. So there you have it. And how does this fare? Yeah, fares really well. So the paper is good, folks. The paper is good. I think these two come in different sizes. It's done. It's, you know, very well bound, so not a problem, not a problem. I just want to, just out of curiosity, just bear with me if you will. I want to test it with just these pens to see how they write in my this is my just a daily fountain pen therapy journal, and it's Tomo River. So this is the pen BBS 486. This is my pen BBS 491 Cartwright. And this is my, man, this pen is slippery. Pen BBS 323. Very difficult to hold. Almost have to put glue on it. I just want to see how they compare. So you can see it compares very nicely to the other paper from Danica 58. Very nice paper, very nice paper. So there you have it. That's it for the pen resurrection, and stay tuned for the next section. Be right back. Okay, for the YouTube spotlight, first of all, just a couple of videos that I'd like to give a shout out. First of all, I recommend that you all watch the latest podcast from Goulet Pens, because at the very beginning they explain, as I mentioned earlier, there's an explanation. You see there's Brian Goulet and his wife. I think her name is Rachel Goulet, but I don't quote me on that. They kind of explain why Drew Brown is no longer around, and you know, that they've parted ways, and give some explanations. So if you're curious, not much news there. I think we can't speculate, but you can get a sense that there's some good reasons behind it, and that everybody's kind of going their separate ways because they've chosen to, so to speak. So that's the feeling I got from what I heard. I could be wrong. There's nothing dramatic apparently, so that's my conclusion. So if you're interested, and the podcast is, as usual, very interesting, so you should take a look at that. My friend Hemingway Jones has got a couple of videos, but the one I really want to mention is the 5 iconic pens. In his belief, the 5 iconic pens for him were the Pelikan M100, the Mont Blanc 149. He's got the Pilot 823 in there. He's got the Lamy 2000. He's got, what else has he got? Now it slips my mind. The Lamy Safari, of course, and maybe one other pen that he mentioned. Oh yes, I believe the Parker 51 is it, but the original. I agree with all his choices. Those are iconic pens. I just don't like the Lamy 2000. Take a look at my video on the Lamy 2000. Explain to you why. I just can't write with the thing. It's just a complete disaster for me. My only choice, I think, I'm not. The verdict's still out. He also mentions the Visconti Homo sapiens. I think my choice would be Delta Dolce Vita, the big oversized orange original. I think that's an iconic pen. It kind of put Delta on the map, so to speak. So that for me would be an iconic pen. But you know, you can't really dispute his choices. I think very interesting video as usual. Shout out to my friend Hemingway Jones. What else have we got? Well, we've got the only Navlor retractable pen. You know, that new pen. I'm surprised not many more reviews. I guess they're coming because the pens were on order. So there's one review. I recommend it. It's a gentleman who I understand came out of retirement just to review that pen. So you take a look at it. I got to tell you, I'm not impressed. But maybe it's just me. There you have it. I think I'm going to wait before I order another one of those retractable pens. I also recommend Doodlebud. Now, Doodlebud does this video on his Pelican flock and how he, started looking at vintage pens, and he's got that Pelican oblique double broad and how he waited for it and the hunt, and very interesting video. But I think what he's gone through with his Pelican, I'm going through right now with vintage and with Waterman. I just this fascination for vintage pens, especially flexi or flex nib pens. So I recommend it. I think he's kind of snapped up a few beautiful Pelicans, and so have I, frankly. In fact, one of them, if I can just show it to you. So have I, in the sense that I've purchased these two pens, which are vintage Pelicans, and I got to tell you, I am really, really enjoying them. Let me show you this one. This one is a 200, I believe, M200, and the nibs on these things are just fabulous. Okay, first of all, they post really nicely. Nice and light. I don't know if there's any ink in this one, but yeah. And there's a little bit of a flex. It's a flexi. I think this is the M200. So a lot of fun, let me tell you, writing with these pens. And, they're really smooth. I mean, this thing has been sitting for months, and it just writes like as if it's nothing, Then I've got this other one, which is the N140, I believe, a little bit older. And look at the nib. Look at the kind of a beak there. And it's let me just post it because it's a little small for my hand. But let me tell you, wow. Really, really nice stuff. So I can see where Doodlebud is coming from when he says that he's kind of discovered some nice stuff. There's this one. Let me just see if my other Waterman, it's supposed to be inked. I'm not sure that this will work, though. I was waiting for the ink to draw down, but yeah, here you go. But it's got that where you could really just springs right back. And look at the beak on this thing. So, that combined with my 52.5, I think, I'm having a lot of fun with these things. And I'm going to continue. Until I figure it all out and stop, I guess. So anyway, that's where we're at with YouTube. Stay tuned. I want to show you what's upcoming, or what's upcoming on my own channel. It won't be long. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm back. Now you're looking at several pens. And here's the project that I've been working on, and I'm not sure when it'll get done because I'm waiting for another pen and it hasn't yet arrived, but and it may very well take the place of next week's recap. So if you see this video going up next week in place of another weekly recap, you'll understand why, for those loyal fans or viewers. The task I've taken on is the following. When I received this Mag 600. And you'll recall, for those of you who watched, I purchased this at Stilo e Stile in Rome during my vacations. I couldn't resist. And I've just been obsessed by this pen ever since, okay? And what it's got me doing now is comparing flex nibs. So I've pulled out everything that's flex that can be considered flex in my collection. And I'm going to be doing a thorough review, instead of just doing a straight up review of the Mag 600, which you've seen before. There's many reviewers who have done it. In fact, there's many reviewers who have kind of compared nibs and flex nibs. I want to go a step further and look at even more, if you will. So what I've put together for you is we're going to do a comparison. We're going to try to figure out, give you choices in terms of flex nibs. What's out there, what works, what doesn't work, and what kind of rivals, if anything, the Mag 600, because I consider it to be right now, apart from vintage pens, and they're represented here as well. So what I've got for you is I've got the Noodlers 2, the Noodler AAB, and the Neopon set with the triple tail flex nib. I've got a series of 3 nibs here from Osprey, going from fine, medium, and broad. And I've got a titanium flex nib from Osprey. I've got 3 offerings from Canwright. I've got a broad flex, a medium flex, and an extra fine flex, a fine flex, and a broad medium flex from Canwright. Then I've got the 2 Yowo flex nibs, an extra fine and a fine. I've got my 2 vintage pen, representing vintage pen flexes, if you will, my Waterman 52.5 and my Pelikan, and I keep forgetting, I believe this is the Pelikan 140N. And then I've got this Pilot Falcon pen, which is with a soft, fine nib, which we'll take a look at. I've got, of course, my Scribo Field of Flex nib. I've got a Santini Gold flex stub. I've got 2 Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex nibs. One is the chrome nib and one is the dual toned, and I believe there is a difference, as you will see from this review. Of course, I've got my Mag 600 there that is well represented. I got my brand new Peniter quill nib that I've just received this week, which was featured in my pen haul, along with my Stipula steel flex nib in this new Etruria Lucents that I've just showed you in my pen haul. And there may be more that I will add to this. I'm going to do a full comparison. We'll do some writing samples, concentrate on the differences between all these nibs and which ones I recommend, which ones, the cost of each, considering them all, so that you have some choices. So stay tuned for that. I think I'm going to publish that next Sunday in place of my weekly recap, and we'll give it a fancy name, and there you'll have it. And therefore, my weekly pen review will be something else, and it'll be a surprise. Just stay tuned for that, probably Wednesday and Thursday. So there you have my plans. And in fact, that flex nib section we will remove that from the comprehensive nib video that I'm working on, which is a work in progress, because I'm missing some pens, if you will. It's a work in progress, which eventually will get, I promise you, it will go on, but just be patient. It'll just be more comprehensive. But I will remove from that video this flex nib video, because I will have done it at that point. And that kind of will take the place of just a straightforward template sort of review of the Mag 600, which you've seen already. And I thought that would be interesting. So there you have my YouTube spotlight. So in conclusion, I want to wish you all a great week. I hope this has been informative, and if not entertaining, at least in part. You've got timestamps, always use them. Take a look at what interests you. You can skip what doesn't. I put some effort in doing these all week. Hopefully you appreciate them, and hopefully they'll catch on a little more and get some more views and get some more viewers to subscribe. And talking about subscribing, if you're taking a look at this video and haven't yet, please do so. It helps the algorithm, and I sure welcome all your comments. I try to answer them at least once a week. We've got some surprises coming in. We got some collaborations that I've received emails from various retailers and various pen manufacturers, so stay tuned for that. And you know what, folks? Enjoy the fountain pen therapy. It's moments like this, enjoying your pens, be it in a workplace or at home having fun. That's what it's all about. We're a great community, folks. We're special. I know we're niche, but we're there, aren't we? Enjoy, folks. Have a great week.